And yet again, we are back. What is going on? It's the Post Podium Podcast where we are all truth and no sodium. I am your co-host, Aramis.
And I am sodiumless Keyshawn. How you doing over there, brother?
It is good to see you sodiumless.
Oh, I'm back again. I'm back. I need a moment, but we're back in business.
The atmosphere is right. We are ripe, and we are ready to roll. We are talking about the 2023 Miami Dolphins today.
Interesting.
It should be interesting. It better be interesting.
That's gonna be interesting. And you know what? No, we're not jumping ship. No, we didn't turn coat, but we're just gonna go through these teams and see what we can find out.
Yeah. No, definitely. I kind of wanted to just go through a new series now where we're looking at, what the challenges that our division are going to present to us. I just want to get a really, really solid feel for what the Bills are up against. I know that we've kind of exhausted where the Bills roster is and their decision making and stuff like that. I really think that this division that we're in right now going into 2023 is probably the hardest that we've ever seen in my entire lifetime. I don't remember every single team presenting a challenge, and it looks like we're getting closer and closer to the Patriots potentially signing DeAndre Hopkins. So,
yeah. And Dalvin Cook maybe going to Miami, so this might fit in nicely.
Yeah, right. Just makes it even better. Yeah. But yeah. So let's dive into it. I think one of the first things that I wanted to get into is from a Miami Dolphins perspective. What is the biggest challenge that the Miami Dolphins going into 2023 present to us, the Buffalo Bills?
Biggest challenge they present to us? This year is going to be interesting. I think that's going to be something we're going to delve into in every segment we talk about, because with the hire of Vic Fangio, depending on
that's a big
what the personnel he has is, if he can bring in his pieces, if he can bring in what he needs to run his defense, it's going to be very scary.
Right.
But also you look at the offense and like I said, it's going to be very nuanced when you think about who they have versus who's actually going to play. When I say that, I mean Tua Tagovailoa. Is he going to play? You look at in 2022, he had 3 concussions, and the last one it took him 38 days to come out of the protocol. Also, he thought about retiring, so that tells you his health is not on full display. There are things that we don't know and things that we're obviously not gonna know. I pray for the guy. I hope he's good. There's a lot past football. So going on to Tyreek Hill, we all know about Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, with his latest incident, this is not his first incident, but it won't be his last, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, I missed that one.
This last one?
Yeah.
The boat incident?
Oh, I think I heard something briefly about that.
Basically what it accounts to, loosely translated, there was either a gathering or a party on a boat. Mm-hmm. And Tyreek Hill decided him and his entourage, they were good enough and special enough to get on this boat uninvited.
Oh, really?
So, the security guard stopped him. You can't get on. He said, "You know who I am? You know who I am?" He does all this chest puffing and what is happening? They walk past the security guard, and he slaps him on the back of his head. Now,
wait, the guard slapped?
No, Tyreek Hill slapped the guard on the back of the head.
Oh, wow.
So what did it?
Must not have been a tall security guard.
What's that?
Must not have been a tall security guard.
Nah.
That's my dad joke for the day.
Jumped.
I'm done.
He jumped and swung down. I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
But basically, what it amounted to, it was 3 different levels. At one point, they didn't know if it was Tyreek that did it. They didn't know if it was somebody in his entourage. Then it comes out it was actually Tyreek that hit him. Then it comes out that the security guard was fearing for his life.
Oh, really?
And he ran into the office and locked the door and called the cops.
No way.
Well, this is all sworn statement. So, it also Tyreek Hill offered to buy the guy for $200. $200. You just signed a $120 million contract. You offer the guy $200.
Wait. Let me get this straight. So we have security guards taking sue somebody 101 classes so that they know exactly what to do when they find somebody with money.
Yes.
And they get attacked. They go lock themselves in a room and call the cops. That's hilarious. What's even worse is you got a Tyreek Hill walking around thinking that people are so broke in 2023 that they will take $200 not
be
not
good
even
with it.
thinking about the millions of dollars you have. Just take this $200 from me and be happy that you made it today.
Yeah.
What?
That's even more laughable when you listen to
Yeah,
it.
like, dude, I know how much you just got paid.
Right.
Like,
It's
are
on
you
public
serious?
display. Everybody
Right.
knows this. So if you're looking at Tyreek Hill, you know he's going to be suspended. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Whether or not he's found, and I want to draw your attention to the Ezekiel Elliott suspension. He got suspended for that domestic violence or whatever it was?
Yes.
And it was unfounded.
Right.
He never got charged. Nothing happened. But the league supersedes that.
Right.
The league's investigation, they have like a no tolerance policy. So what they do is when something like this comes up, 6 games, whatever the case may be.
Conduct detrimental to the team, to the league, like that encompasses a lot of things. Anytime you make the league look bad, it's just they can do whatever they want.
But the thing about Tyreek Hill is this isn't his first incident. He's got a storied past. You think about 2014.
I don't think, like, Adrian Peterson spanked his kid and got in trouble for that.
Well, but think about this. In 2014, Tyreek Hill got a domestic violence against his pregnant girlfriend.
Okay.
And I'm speculation states that he intimidated her and then not giving the full story. 2019, the kid is now 5 years old. He's got a broken arm.
Mm-hmm.
That's child abuse. And there's tape hearing Tyreek and his now wife or fiance talking about, the story and what we're gonna tell him. And it comes out that the kid is afraid of him, and the fiance tells people or the cops or whatever that the kid is afraid of him. And Tyreek said he should be, and you should be too, B.
Wait. Okay, just sidebar.
Yeah.
How in the world did Ray Rice get blackballed?
Yep.
When Kareem Hunt is still in the league?
Yep.
Both were on video.
Yep.
Both of them.
Yep.
Kareem Hunt kicked this chick twice.
Yep.
And got away with it.
Yeah.
The chick that Ray Rice hit was with him and stayed with him afterwards.
Right.
Advocated for him to get a job.
Right.
Advocated for him to be forgiven and all this kind of stuff. And he still couldn't get a job?
He was a Pro Bowl running back at one point, too.
They're both running backs. Yeah. Like, that's the other thing. Like, it's not even like you got a quarterback versus a running back, and the quarterback position is even more important.
Right.
You got a running back who assaulted somebody in this, well, not in the same way, but they both assaulted people. One of them has been in the league for the last 3 years after he did what he did. The other one never saw the league again.
Right.
There were reports of people giving him a shot. Even the Ravens tried to give him it. Like, I don't understand the double standard with situations like that. Like, you can say all you want. It's a case by case basis. But essentially, the Ezekiel Elliott situation is no different. From just from an overall perspective of domestic violence, making the league look bad and all that kind of stuff, there's no difference between Ezekiel Elliott, Ray Rice, and Kareem Hunt. Tell me what the difference is. Like, explain to me how he should not be suspended. Explain to me how Kareem Hunt is still in the league. I mean, both Kareem Hunt and Ray Rice had their stuff on video.
Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott had his stuff on audio. Maybe that's a little bit different, but
yeah, I mean, and like you said, Adrian Peterson, people like that. But
yeah, like what is the standard?
Yeah, they get jobs, and it is what it is. But the reason why, just to draw it back to your question, I brought all this up because Tyreek's going to be suspended, and I believe we do play the Dolphins in that 6-game window, I believe. So that would be something you got to look out for. Tua's health you have to look out for. So now you're looking at, if you're thinking about it, we got to think about if Tua's not there, who do they have? You're looking at quarterback, you have Skylar Thompson, Mike White. Those are your 2 backups behind Tua.
Okay.
Skylar shows you he can play against Buffalo, I suppose. He's stuck in there, and another year of training camp with the Dolphins organization will do him well.
Okay.
But you look at your wide receivers, and there's just nothing there. They got rid of what's the guy we have? Trent Sherfield.
Yep.
They got rid of Mike Gesicki. They still have Cedric Wilson. They still have Chosen Anderson is on there now, and Braxton Berrios. So I'm not really worried about their wide receiver room. Obviously,
they
you
still
got
got
Jalen
Cedric
Waddle,
Wilson.
but their offense, if you watched it last year, was predicated on Tyreek Hill. It was predicated on him. I mean, you look
Yeah,
at
but essentially they can use Jalen Waddle the same way with Braxton Berrios underneath. I think they didn't have Berrios last year. They used Sherfield in that slot position, and he's got good speed, but he's not Braxton Berrios fast. Like
no.
Braxton Berrios can fly, right? And I think when you have a guy like Jalen Waddle that can pull the top of your defense all the way back and even force him to play all the way back just because, I think that opens up a whole lot of space for Braxton Berrios. And really, if we're being honest, they could use Berrios in a lot of the same ways that they use Hill. They're similar players.
I mean, the talent. It's a big drop off in talent between the two, though. So I mean,
I would say from athleticism, maybe route running. Yes, I get it, but
and that's the big difference. The route running is if you look at how the Miami Dolphins used Tyreek Hill, it was always a motion. He was always the one in motion. He was always the one that filled the stack.
Okay.
But what his job was his superior route running. A lot of comebacks, a lot of baiting, a lot of footwork, a lot of reading the body language of the cornerback. So, when you think about, like you said, Berrios probably can fill in if they have to, but it's not ideal. Okay. And that makes me think, what would they have done with a Hardy like we have, our guy, with that speed or something like that. So,
I don't even know what we gonna do with Hardy.
I don't think they know they're going to do a Hardy, but I digress.
Right.
Chosen Anderson is going to be somebody. If you don't know who Chosen Anderson is, he's formerly Robbie Anderson or Chosen Robbie Anderson. I'm not sure what he goes by.
That's the guy.
Yeah. So if you look at their wide receiver room, it's not that impressive, not that scary. I'm not too worried about it, but you just got to keep in the back of your mind the additions that they did have in the event that Tyreek Hill is not there.
Yeah.
Offensively, what they look to do is they run a West Coast offense, and obviously the West Coast offense is built heavily on timing, heavily on conceived play calling, preconceived route running, preconceived where you're going to throw the ball before the ball's even snapped.
Right.
And I think they're going to carry that on next year with especially if Tua's in the game, because if you look at Tua, a lot of his successes came not because he has a strong arm, not because he knows how to read the field, but because he takes a good direction. Mike McDaniels tells him where to throw the ball. Throw it to this spot. If you see this guy do this, this will be open. And going to the games, I saw his head doesn't read the field. His head snaps back, and he looks in one place, and that's where the ball goes. 3 steps back, gone. It reminds me of Trent Edwards.
Yeah.
So we've seen that a lot. We've seen that, and this will be the third meeting between us and McDaniel. Or fourth meeting.
Fourth, yeah.
So we've seen it, we played against it, and we've conquered it. Offensively, I'm not too worried about them in terms of what they're going to do to combat whatever Miami's throwing at them. Defensively, we're going to a little bit, but okay. What do you got?
No, I mean, I think offensively, we're talking about a team who went 9-8 last year. Their offensive stats, not bad. 4,765 yards all together. They had a average yard per pass of 8.2 yards. I mean, I want to look at it from this perspective. The speed that team possesses in the system that they run is not something that the league has seen, I think, ever. I think that much speed running a West Coast offense, usually when teams have that much speed, they're trying to run air raid, they're trying to run, vertical, something vertical, something to take the top off the defense, score quick, run the score up, that way they can just sit and relax on the sidelines. But this is a team that is built to beat you the same way horizontally as they can vertically. They can beat you in one play or they can beat you in 7 to 10. And really the only thing that I think held them back from going further than us in the playoffs was really their quarterback was hurt. When Tua was playing and he was on his job, that team was damn near unstoppable. I didn't see any instances when we played them where we figured it out. We got this. Now, maybe some of that had to do with Leslie Frazier calling the plays. Remember, we figured out already that was Leslie Frazier's defense last year, right? In terms of, how it was called, how it was schemed up, and third down calls, all that kind of stuff. It was Frazier's defense. It was soft. But we still have the same players. And I think the only thing now that enables us to limit that offense even more is the ability to get to the passer and create more pressure. And I think Sean McDermott, with the schemes that he's run before and being aggressive and having those zone blitzes and stuff like that, I think it can be done. But I think if Sean gets burned once from one of his zone blitzes, it just makes me nervous. He's not going to do it at all the rest of the game. And then we're going to have to go back to the same way that we played last year, where we're just being careful, trying to keep everything in front of us. Like, you don't beat Hill, you don't beat Tyreek Hill by trying to shut him down. And they have shut him down before, but they got tore up by tight ends.
Yeah, you got to remember, we've seen Hill many times in Kansas City, and now we see him in Miami. So it's not, it's something that, and they even if you think about it, they've dreamed about how to beat Tyreek Hill for years, going back to when they played Kansas City. Because when you think about it, they built their team to defend against Kansas City, which is Tyreek Hill.
I don't think they built it to stay in front. Like, if that was the case, they would have instantly gone and got a faster corner. Like, to think that Trey White could ever stay with Tyreek Hill. Granted, not a lot of people in the league can stay with Tyreek Hill.
Well, we're in a zone, though. We're in a bail zone, which is what they were doing. They don't get physical. They're running bail. They're trying to bracket them, and that's what they want to do. That's when Travis Kelce ate us up, because they stopped him. But you don't have anybody in the middle to take out Kelce, who really does. But Miami doesn't have a Kelce, so I think who's their tight end? I don't even know who their tight end is anymore. But
I got it pulled up here. It is.
You're looking at
Durham Smythe.
Yeah, Durham Smythe and Eric Sauber.
Eric Sauber. Like, they don't matter. They're not getting the ball. They're not getting the ball.
They have Tyler Croft. I didn't know that.
Who? For real?
Yeah. So the old Bill, Tyler Croft is
but he's like fifth on the depth chart. He ain't getting the ball.
No, he's not getting the ball, but he's on the team. I mean, I didn't say he was going to get a ball.
I mean, the way you were saying it, like, ooh, they got Tyler Croft. Like,
familiar name. We played, we've seen him. He had the good catch against the Rams to win the game. Maybe he'll do something. I don't know. But no, I digress. Once again, you think about Tyreek Hill, and I don't think McDermott is afraid of Tyreek Hill. And I'm not saying that you should be. I just don't think that he's afraid of him. I think he thinks his zone scheme is good enough, regardless of what happens with the quarterback situation. I think he's going to focus on trying to limit that speed. Like you said, keep everything. You can't expect somebody to run step for step with Tyreek Hill. Right. Jalen Waddle. You can't expect it. So I think he knows that. And I think that he knows that it's not going to be a kind of game where you can just dominate and just eliminate them. You can limit them, but you can't eliminate them.
Well, I guess that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, you just play your defense and play to make the quarterback make mistakes. I think that's the way that you beat this Miami Dolphins team. You disrupt the timing. You get to the quarterback and you make his feet move. If you can make his feet move, he's not going to beat you throwing on his feet. He's not. He's not that guy. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Mahomes. He's not. I don't even think I've seen Jackson, Burrow do it too much, Hurts. But yeah. Those guys definitely they're going to beat you on the feet. But I just that's the way that you beat that offense. So I mean, in terms of going up against that offense, I'm only nervous from what I've seen last year, but we have to wash that away because our defensive coordinator that ran that defense that went against that offense is no longer here.
That's true.
So,
and I think, and I was actually kind of interested in your take on Tua Tagovailoa because I don't give him that much credit. You say he was unstoppable, but I think, well, not you didn't say unstoppable. I don't want to misquote you. You said he was pretty good. He was really good. He was when McDermott told him what to do. He was when the looks were advantageous. But if you look at what the Chargers did to him when he played the Chargers, that was the blueprint. He had 30% completion percentage against the Chargers, and he was horrible. After that, he was terrible for the rest of the season. So I think the book.
Well, he was concussed for the rest of the
Well,
season
yeah,
after he played
that's what
us.
They say. Especially after he said, what did he say? He couldn't remember throwing the interceptions.
Yeah,
I don't buy that. I don't remember. I think that was a ploy by McDaniel just to get him out of the game because I don't buy that.
Okay. But
I've had 3 concussions. I mean, I remember everything else but the interceptions.
So let me ask you this: what did the Chargers do to disrupt that Dolphins offense, or to shut Tua down, so to speak? You don't have to go into detail.
No, they did. I was thinking about my head. They pressed. They were physical.
They
knock you off your spot.
They disrupted the time.
Knock you off your spot,
yep.
And that's it. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's how you beat. And like you said, that's why Kyer Elam should be the number 2, and 100%. Let him be physical.
100%.
Don't let them be that bail like you had Levi, like you had Dane Jackson, and because that's what you wanted them to do when you play quarters, whatever, you bail.
Right.
But when you want to beat guys like that are smaller, that are not as strong. I mean, Tyreek Hill, he's short, he's stocky, but when you think about it, he's not that big, so he shouldn't have tremendous power where you can't contend with him.
Yeah.
So you have to get a jam on him because what that does is even that little jam, even if he beats you, the spot that Tua was supposed to throw to, is off. It's off now, and that's how the Chargers beat it, and that's documented. That the Chargers, what they did was they bumped them, and then let them, if they won, they won. If they lost, the throw was off because Tua knows 3 seconds in, I got to throw it to this place.
Right.
And that nobody was in that place, or the defender was in that place. So after that, that's what people started doing. Let's bump them and see what happens. We didn't, but we played them twice already by the time we got to the playoff game, and what we did had relative success.
Yeah, yeah. I think I'm a strong believer in Mike McDaniel's ability to beat defensive coordinators. I do think part of the reason that he installed this particular scheme with this team is, a lot of it has to do with the type of quarterback that he has. When you don't have a strong arm quarterback, this is the kind of offense that you want, right?
That was what, Shanahan in San Francisco?
Who?
Was it?
Yeah. Kyle Shanahan.
So Brock Purdy, that tells you right there.
Yeah.
This offense wins with any of those guys,
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And when you're looking at what Tua could be, you want to see the first 5, 6, 7 games of the season where they were lighting it up. Yeah. They were lighting it up. And mind you, Tua had 2 concussions in that time span, but when he was on the field, that offense moved like no other offense in the league. You could look at that offense and you could say, man, they could beat anybody with the weapons they have, the speed they have. I mean, their running back is 30 years old, can probably still run a 4.3. Like, it's just amazing the weapons they have. But again, as we've established, timing is what you want to take away when it comes to a West Coast offense. I just
want to go to the running backs. I'm looking at the running backs, and this is a lot. If can you see my screen?
Yes.
This is a lot of speed. Definitely.
Jeff Wilson.
That's what, a 4.27. Raheem Mostert.
Mostert, yep.
He was what, a 4.3.
Jeff Wilson ran a 4.3.
Myles Gaskin was a 4.38 or something like that.
Yep.
I mean, there's tons of speed back there.
Yeah.
Ridiculous speed. So yeah, I mean that you can't help but be blazing and help run over people when you have this kind of speed.
Right.
In space.
Exactly, and I think that's the point. And here's the other thing too: we haven't even seen that team try to do a whole lot of screens yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if that's something they're installing this year, look the heck out, because their ability to throw wide receiver screens and throw running back screens, like, it's only going to take one play. Mm-hmm. Especially if you can get Tyreek Hill on some of those screens, running that little flare route and from behind the line.
Right.
So I think this is a team that can absolutely win, 11, maybe 12 games this year with just the offense that they have. And now you incorporate, let's move over to the defensive side. I think what they've done on defense going into this season is huge. I think it's absolutely huge, with the biggest move being, Vic Fangio. I mean, this is a guy that's no joke as a defensive coordinator. Like he was a head coach before, right? I'm pretty sure he was a head coach of the Broncos or something like that.
Now, the thing about Vic Fangio, this is what I'm gonna back up a little bit on Vic Fangio, because when you look at his predecessor, Jeff Boyer, they're completely different defensive coordinators. The Boyer was pin your ears back and go, blitz, man. He was man heavy, but he didn't have the personnel to run his scheme. You have Christian Wilkinson in a 4-3. You have Jalen Phillips. You have Bradley Chubb. But then on the back end, you had a hobble Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. The safeties, I don't even remember who the safeties were, but when you look at what he was trying to do with that lineup, it just didn't play out, because your secondary didn't hold long enough for your front four to get home. Where they have the talent.
That safety tore Josh Allen up. Javon Holland.
That's it. Okay.
He picked him a couple times.
Well, that's because Josh Allen gets greedy sometimes. He does get greedy, but I think one of them wasn't one of those passes right to him, and I'm not trying to be funny. I think one of them he threw it right to the guy.
Yeah, but I think the receiver was supposed to be in that area, in that space.
Did the Eli?
Like that. Yeah, something like that.
But no, I mean, the reason why I say it is because I know from listening to Miami podcast, their secondary was too hobbled to give the front four enough time to do their work. So the front four not being able to get home created some discourse amongst the back seven.
Yeah.
The back seven couldn't cover long enough, and it just was a mess.
Yeah.
So enter Vic Fangio, which you know better than I do. But Vic Fangio, he's heavy on zone. He's heavy. He doesn't blitz at all, whereas Boyer blitzed all the time. Fangio runs an odd man front, where Boyer ran a even front. So can he turn it around? I mean, you look at his disciples. You got to look at guys like who did he have? Who was it? Joe. Hold on, I have it here.
Let me tell you something. This defense running 3-4. Nothing to scoff at. Like, it looks good right now. It looks good. The only weakness, I mean, we can kind of get into that because we've kind of touched on it, as well. But I wanted to kind of talk about the strengths and weaknesses of each side of the ball. We've done it on offense. I think defensively, their inside linebackers, that's the weak spot. If they had any.
And now you got to get four of them. I mean, you look at like I say, I have it now. His disciples, Brandon Staley. We just talked about the Chargers. Joe Barry, who's in Green Bay, and Sean Desai, who was upgraded in Chicago when they had that nice defense when Fangio left.
Yep.
So, the defense is proven to work, and it's proven to affect a lot of teams and be very effective.
Right.
It's just my thing is, what can he do with the personnel? Now I know his front four, or his odd front, they're going to be able to get home now.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, you run that zone in the back, they can get home because you're going to all Fangio likes to do is confuse. He runs a lot of Robert Kopp concepts. He runs a lot of and when I say Robert Kopp, for the people at home, if you don't know, Robert is when the safety slides and cheats to the middle, and the Kopp is when the linebacker slides and cheats to the middle. After snap, post snap. So there's a lot of deception, a lot of moving parts, a lot of nothing. He'll line up the same way every time and show you a different look every time. If that makes sense. And that's why Fangio is one of the most cerebral defensive coordinators to do it.
I mean, it sounds like another Belichick-esque style of defense, and I have to say I've been very pleased that our quarterback has handled Belichick's defenses very, very well, and I think him going against another guy like that, I'm not too nervous. But again, if we're talking about what the Bills have to worry about going against this team, I think and I said this when it first happened. I wasn't happy about it until I started looking at the division when the Bills decided to move to a that 11 and a half, that 12 formation system where there's much more focus on the tight ends.
Yeah.
I think it works. I mean, I think the ability to go against a guy like Jerome Baker and David Long Jr., who right now are their top two inside linebackers, I don't think those guys are going to be able to beat our tight ends, especially if Kincaid can move like his numbers would indicate.
Right.
And we know Dawson Knox can make plays, so I think moving to that offensive scheme presents a huge mismatch for the Dolphins going against us. They got guys like Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey, both older guys, but both still top corners in the league. I would be nervous if we were still playing in the same offense that we had last year.
Yeah.
But I think the Bills actually have, like, the more I think about it, the Bills actually have an opportunity to surprise the league this year, and the reason being the defense is going to be different and the offense is going to be different.
Right.
And that can either be the saving grace or it can be the nail in the coffin. You know what I'm saying? So just schematically, I think, looking at what the matchups would be and where you want to try to, focus, I think the zone run against this defensive line, against this front, because you got to worry about Phillips, you got to worry about the guy who's the other guy? Chubb. You got to worry about Chubb.
And Wilkins might have a big contract year too. You got to remember he's up for a contract.
Exactly. Right now they have him as so he's going to play one of the end spots. They got Raekwon Davis as their nose tackle. Christian Wilkins, he should eat in that defense. He might come up with 5 or 6 sacks this year.
Yeah, easily. I would even say maybe even 7.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening.
And to go back to your point about the secondary, I mean, I'm looking at the names for who we have Miami, even at cornerback. Forgive me, give me grace. I'm going to say it. Noah Igbenogany.
Igbenogany.
Okay, yeah. First round draft pick in 2020, 30th overall. Trill Williams, Xavier Howard, as you spoke of. Nick Needham was actually a starter for a while.
He's not bad.
Him and Cater Kohu, which was a younger player who's he's pretty physical. He might try to slide him to safety. I don't know, but they have a lot of talent here at cornerback, and so that's something that you don't want to sleep on as a Bills fan. We don't want to go into this game thinking that because we're the Bills and we have this, that, and the third, we're just going to take it. They're not going to lay down to us, and this team is actually really good.
Yeah,
they're really good. They got to find their way.
Yeah, agreed. So we're getting near the end here. We're gonna do a little bit of a shorter show today, but with everything that we've looked at, are the Dolphins in 2023 a serious threat to the Bills?
If they're moderately healthy, yes.
Okay, let's.
The reason why I say that is only because of one person.
When do we play them? We play them. Hold on.
Not sure, but the reason to answer your question is, if moderately healthy, is because is Skylar going to take the next step, or is Tua going to play the season? Those are my two biggest questions. If you're going to have Tyreek Hill for 12 or 11 games out of the season, are you going to have less? What's going to happen with that? Are you going to get Dalvin Cook? There's a lot of questions involved, but I do think without any of those variables taking major precedent, I think I would worry about them to a reasonable extent. Nothing. I wouldn't go further than a knockdown dragout like it was last year. You got to remember too, McDermott's owned this team his whole existence in Buffalo.
True.
We've only lost to him 2 times. So, and they have not lost at home. What does that mean? I mean, stats are they're meant to be broken. Everything comes to an end. But I have reasonable, and yes, this is going to be a show where you're not going to hear any McDermott hate. I don't think we've done any today. but 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 I think I go reasonably confident that McDermott will have his men ready and defend home turf against the Dolphins. We won't talk about squish and fish. We won't use any of that lingo, the tuna. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't say any of that, but
Well, okay, so we play them week 4 and then week, what is it, 18 now?
okay, yeah.
Um,
Well, like last year, we played in week 18 last year. Because then remember we had to turn around and play them again in the wild card.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
'Cause the whole thing was, are they going to stay in Buffalo? Remember, they were like, are you going to stay here? Or are they going to go home? They went home.
Right.
But yeah, so just like
So we're
last year.
playing them in Miami at the end of the season, and they're coming here earlier in the season. So
week 4.
no real weather advantage for either team
They did
this year.
Didn't we play them like week 3 or something? What was it last year?
Last year, no, I think we played them week 5.
5. Okay, that makes sense.
5 or 6, somewhere.
It was
around
early.
there.
I was just alluding to the fact that it's like around when we're playing them this year. It's the same general area.
But we were in Miami, and I've never seen so many guys
Heat
just
gate?
drop
Yeah,
from
Heat
the
gate was
Heat Gate.
ridiculous.
Yeah, dude, that needs to be noted. That
Heat
needs to
gate
be
was
noted
ridiculous.
that they purposely did not use
Yeah.
their air conditioning
Right.
seats because
we
they were
couldn't.
already right, just so that we couldn't use them. Like that was a real thing.
That's a boss move.
That's a Belichickian move.
Yeah.
That's what you do if you're really trying to win. You use every advantage available to
The
you.
thing was, bringing that up, I'm thinking about the Bills. You know, in the early 90s, what did they do? They didn't wear sleeves in the wintertime on purpose because they were trying to assert, I'm tougher than you.
Right.
You know, whoever they played, this is our home turf. We're used to this. I mean, these guys are beat red. They're snotting. They're blowing smoke, but they have no sleeves on. And they used to punk. I think Thurman Thomas, somebody said, if you wear sleeves, you were a punk. He didn't use that word, but he said, if you wore sleeves, we all came at you.
You
Because we
up.
don't- Right, exactly. You're a beep. But that's the
I
thing.
just
You know,
did
that psychological warfare is what gets it done. You know, and when we played them, it wasn't because they were better than us. It wasn't because we were better than them. Because we ran the field. No, that's another thing altogether. We ran the field 5 times over and only scored 19 points. 500 yards of offense. You put 19. How does that even work? And that
Right.
bothers my mind to this day. But
Right.
you know, my thing is,
That's
however
play
they got it
calling.
done, they got it done. What's that?
That's play calling. I'm sorry. That's red zone play calling. Your creativity comes into
It's
question.
gotta be because you went the whole. You went the whole.
You made it
field
there. You
5
just-
times.
You have a quarterback who can run the ball like he does. You don't open up an opportunity for him to do it. You don't scheme a guy like Diggs open. You don't get a guy like Cook some space to maybe catch a ball and run it in or something like that.
Well, Cook had to play for that though.
You're right. He was,
He had
the
to
man
play
was
for
getting
that.
2 touches a game at that point,
Yeah, that was
which was the most ridiculous
but,
thing ever.
You know, to go back to it, you know, like you said, with regards to Miami, that was a boss move with not putting on their air conditioning,
Yeah.
and they made it. You know, but at the same time, you got to think about it. We were our offense was on the field. What was it? What did they say? 90% of the game, or 80-something% of the game, or something ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So that was by design. They'll bend but don't break. I said, yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna bend but don't break, and we're gonna tire them out. When they get tired, we'll attack. Our offense is on the field for all of 20 minutes or whatever it ended up being. 15 minutes of the game.
The whole game, pretty much,
Our
aside from
offense
like
was-
6
yeah,
minutes.
and their offense was sitting there chilling.
Yeah.
I mean, no, they weren't chilling because the air conditioning was off, but
Yeah, but they had the shade.
They did
and
have
that was
the
the
shade.
other thing too. The sun
No,
was
yeah,
beaming on us,
yeah,
and they
they
still
take the
sitting in
wrong-
the
the other
shade, so they
side,
were
right.
cooler.
oh yeah. I mean, but I think most home teams do that. You know, even as small as you be, they
But
do
it don't
all the
matter
time.
everywhere else except for Miami.
It won't.
Like
It won't.
nowhere else in the country does it matter like it
It
matters in
won't.
Miami.
You know, and that's true. But I just feel like it was hilarious the fact that they used nature in every facet of this thing to beat us.
Yeah,
And that's legit.
yeah.
Because they came to Buffalo and they almost beat us in Buffalo, in the snow. They almost did it.
So you ready for your Sean McDermott hate?
I didn't think. Can you beat this up? I was trying so hard. Okay, go ahead. I was trying so hard.
So I am officially obligated by our sponsors to go as hard as I possibly can at Sean McDermott every single episode until he is out of office.
He's the president out of office.
Yeah, he's out of office. We got to impeach the heck out of this dude. I think if I'm looking at both games, I think this year, again, this really boils down to whether or not these changes on offense and defense work. But if I'm judging by the last 6 years, I'm gonna say we have the potential to lose both games. I think we're gonna at the very least lose one for sure. And I think if Tyreek Hill's suspension is 4 games, we play them week 4, we might get away with that game solely because they don't have Tyreek Hill. But that end of the season game where it counts and it matters as far as positioning and seeding and all that kind of stuff, I think that's a done deal. We're playing in Miami. Yeah. I think it's a wrap.
I picked that as a loss anyway because I figured we would already be in there. Remember, we went through – I said they were going to be in there, and I didn't think they were going to have a big shot at moving up or down, so I said they're going to lose that one. They're not going to play their starters. So I agree with you on that one. It's in Miami.
It's in Miami.
So that one, the streak continues, and they still haven't lost them at home in McDermott's tenure.
I just don't like that you have the asterisk of Tyreek Hill didn't play. It's the same as those games that the Bills won against the Patriots where Brady didn't play because he was suspended.
We finally went in Gillette. It was against.
It doesn't matter.
It was the last game they weren't playing.
Right.
No. So I didn't mean to use the asterisk as far as I was just saying, in terms of just looking at in my own mind. We still haven't lost at home to Miami in forever. I mean, you figure.
True.
I'm thinking about the Child's Play game, which was in Miami, because I was like, oh, yeah, we lost that. No, that was in Miami. We lost that, what was that, by 6? Or no, yeah, by 4. But I was looking at the stat. I mean, if you look at here, this is crazy. This is crazy. Miami won the game with 15 first downs. They had 212 yards of offense. We had 497 yards of offense. And we lost the game 21-19. We lost the game 21-19.
My gosh.
In my mind, it's like, how?
But I remember that coming down to some key calls, some key coaching calls and play calls that shouldn't have been called at the times that they were. Namely in the second half when they came out and they were throwing the ball all over the place. And I think they tried to run it like maybe twice in the first few series in the second half or something like that, and they were successful. And so you're thinking to yourself, like, just run it down their throat until they have to defend that, because right now they're counting on you trying to pass the ball and score 30 points in 2 minutes. Yeah. And they never seem to get it. And I think we've kind of already gone through, why those changes never happened. See our whose offense is this anyway episode, and you'll have your answer as to why those changes weren't made in game. But
I'm sitting here looking further at comparable games against the Dolphins. The only one I see offhand is this one in 2021. We're looking at the stats are 216 yards of offense for the Dolphins, 13 first downs, no touchdowns, and we beat them 35-0 with only 314 yards. So we had 500 yards.
2021 was that the Isaiah McKenzie game? I think he had like a punt return or a kick return or something like that in that game, and he had a touchdown catch and
yeah. You look at, but you're looking at the points we put up in 2021 with far less yardage versus running up and down the field.
We blew them out 56-26.
I was just looking at that.
Like, they had one less yard than we did.
Right.
27 first downs, 3 touchdowns. Like,
right.
But we killed them.
So what happened in Heatgate? Obviously we know that the nature played a factor,
coaching,
but no, it really didn't, because we had 497 yards.
Yeah.
That's the second best output we've had in the McDermott era against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
But we had 19 points. How? I got to go back and watch this game again, because you have to mistake your way into even getting more than 19 points in that game.
Do you notice the trend though? 21, then 29, then 31. Mm-hmm. They scored more points each time they played our defense.
Yep.
And that scares the mess out of me. What that tells me is that coaching staff knows what the heck they're doing on offense.
Yep.
And they can figure it out either before the game or in the game to be able to score enough points to try and win that game.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I really hope Sean's got a lid on this thing, man. I really hope that he can pull it together and be the guy that everybody, thinks he is, or thought he was when he got signed here. But again, my obligatory hatred for Sean, per episode, I think is now satisfied in saying that I haven't seen it in the last 6 years, and I don't think we're gonna see it.
Yeah, I can tell you, I was at that last Dolphins game, the 12-17 game, where it wasn't a win and end situation, but it was we needed that game, and it did not feel good. It did not feel good at all. I remember Mostert busting one up. I remember Sherfield dropping a touchdown in the end zone on my end. I was over, on the tunnel end, and he dropped a touchdown. A couple other things happened. They had a goal
you're one
line
of
stop.
you're one of the fancy Buffalonians that can afford to pay for a Bills ticket.
Yeah, well, yeah,
yes,
I guess I'm one of the privileged, but
because they're about to be charging an arm and a leg in a minute for these PSLs.
But I was there and it just didn't feel good. And we talked about this already with the team after, what was it, the Green Bay game, when that cover 2 shell destroyed us. After that, it just never felt safe. You never felt like we're just going to pulverize these guys. You just never felt like, we own them. And going back to this Dolphins game, I was watching because I watched another podcaster, which the guy last week I talked about, who said that what was he trolling about last week? Anyway, but he put me on his Dolphins podcaster, and I really enjoy him. And he mentioned Tua's a spot thrower. He mentioned Tua doesn't make reads. He mentioned that that the offense only works when they're unabated, when they're not touched. It only works when they can get to the spots at the time they're supposed to get there. Right. And so when I went to this game on 12-17, I was like, let me watch Tua and see what he does. And I literally just sat there and looked at his head the whole time. And his helmet never moved. It never moved. So that tells you he's not looking off anybody. I mean, they say, the safeties watch your eyes, but I don't know how good your eyesight is.
I would contend to say this. I think off-season is for improvement. Regular season is for implementation. And the reason I say that is this. In the offense that Tua was given, or Tua was put into last year, that's what he was asked to do. I think the coaches wanted to make sure that they put him in a position to play as fast and as efficient as he could possibly play.
Right, and that's what you're supposed to do as
a coach. Right.
That's what you're supposed to do.
So I don't. And again, this is not Tua love. I would say the same thing for any quarterback in the league. I think when it comes to what you're asked to do as a quarterback, if he was a spot thrower last year, that's probably what he was asked to do. That's just, what he is. Right. Yeah. And the coaches saw that and then, just fine. We built an offense for you to go and throw to a spot. Do it.
Don't misinterpret what I'm saying is saying that he has to get better. I'm just saying that most quarterbacks.
No, I think he needs to get better.
For sure. But that's not what I'm going. What I'm saying is, like, when I'm watching him, because I couldn't believe that somebody was having this kind of success. I mean, you're talking about in the beginning of the season, he was an MVP candidate. He was at over 70%. And I'm like, I can't believe that somebody who you can figure out, it's not possible you can figure this guy out and as a podcaster and not figure it out as a multi-million-dollar, head coach or defensive coordinator. So I sat there and watched it. That's what I'm getting at. I sat and watched from my own eyes. I'm like, he's really not looking anywhere else. He's like literally throwing it regardless if the guy's there or not, because there were some real good throws and there were some horrible throws. And I think he was like top 5 in bad throws by next gen stats.
Wow.
And what those are it's 3 components: balls that should have been or were intercepted, balls that were not put in the right place at the right time, balls that receivers had to work to get to. So
where was Josh on that list?
We won't talk about that.
No. I need to know.
He wasn't that bad. I'll pull it up. But
okay.
But I mean, the point is, if you're looking at a guy that's lauded as maybe the next potential Allen Mahomes kind of situation, when he's MVP level, that's something that's glaring. To me, that's glaring, because he's not a scrambler, he's not a runner, he doesn't really threaten you in that regard. So you're getting destroyed by a guy who knows where he's going before you even snaps the ball. It's like, all right, well, I guess it could be done, and he showed it.
Right.
So I'll give him that, but his health is the issue. So yeah, I'll look at that. Since you want to know,
I need to know. I need to know.
I feel like I'm feeding him some more hate.
It's not hate. Like I oh my gosh.
No.
I can't get enough of finding out what it is that weakens my team so that I can expose that to everybody so that they can see. Like, my issue is people not seeing or people not wanting to see. Like, there's a phrase that goes, you know, people perish for lack of knowledge, right? Mm-hmm. And that lack of knowledge most of the time comes from them rejecting knowledge. Right. They don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to know what the reality of the situation is. Like, when it comes to junk food, like, people swear by junk. No, it tastes good, so it's got to be good. It's a picture of a fruit on the cover, so I can eat it. It's fine. Like, people have really said this stuff before, right? So when you sit and you talk about the Bills to a Bills fan, they it's like they are so hypnotized and so programmed to only think positive about the team, because the second you stop thinking positive, happy, good thoughts about the team, right, you die. I don't know what the alternative to their thinking is, but something about that thought process makes it almost a fearful thought to not think a positive thought about the team. Yeah. And so when you try to feed them truth and you try to support it with statistics and you try to tell them, you know, about reports and stuff like that, like, I got a guy I talk to that comes by here on a regular basis, and he wouldn't hear anything about the Bills being reportedly open to trading Stephon Diggs. He would not hear it. Yeah. If the Bills didn't say it themselves, then it's not true. What they've privately done a whole lot of stuff that they didn't tell us about,
and then they shouldn't.
Right.
I don't blame them for it. I don't need to know everything. I want to, but I don't.
There's things that we need to know about ahead of time. But
sure, but you know, but as an organization, I don't blame them for not telling me something.
Right.
I don't have to know everything, but I would like to, just because I'm nosy and I like to know how it works.
Right.
Well, see, I love that you said that, because that's what makes this show beautiful. This show is for the people that are not like your guy.
Yeah.
The people that are afraid to call in or talk to people because they don't want to get shamed, because they don't know something, they don't understand something, or their thought process is different than what they hear at the stadium or in the parking lots. We want to be your voice. We want to be the person that you talk to. We could be 100% wrong, and we're fine with that. This is how we think. Teach me. I want to know how you think. I don't want to know how McDermott and them think. I would listen to GR for that. I would listen to, Locked On for that, because they're going to be that stuff. I want to know how you think. I want to know how you sit on your couch on Sundays, Thursdays, and Mondays and watch the game. And that's what this forum is for, especially when we start opening this up for calls, we start opening it up for comments, things like that. Because you don't have to sit here and listen to me and Aramis talk all the time. We want to hear what you have to say and what you think, not what they're telling you to think. And to your thing about how bad Josh was.
Where is he at?
If you look at Tua.
Where is he at?
Brother. Why am I doing this? I ain't
Where
realize
is he at?
I ain't realize it was like this. But if you look at Tua, his bad throws last year, he was 15.8%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Show me the money.
Now, if you look at Josh, he was 16.6.
Oh!
So Josh's bad throws are markedly worse than Tua's.
Ooh.
Yeah. So there's that.
Okay. Quick question. We got 1 minute. We got 1 minute. We got 30 seconds. Is Josh's numbers a heavier indication of his play or deviation from plays, or is it a coaching issue?
What do you think?
Oh, you playing this game. Okay.
Okay. I know what you think. I just want you to say it. Let it out.
Of course it's coaching.
Let it out.
Of course it's coaching. Can I bring this table any harder? Of course it's coaching. You couldn't say anything bad about Josh Allen the 3 previous years before Ken Dorsey walked us behind into offensive coordinator positions. Like, I'm gonna.
No, I mean, you're you're on
Stop
you're
while
on the
I'm
mark
ahead.
there. I mean, honestly, we've talked about Dorsey ad nauseum, but it's true. Should you expect something like that to occur when you get a rookie offensive coordinator? Sure, but at this point, you got to leverage the fact you have a franchise quarterback who's been there before, and they need to get their heads together, especially if they're so familiar with each other. Especially if they have so much in common and the terminology is the same and they're comfortable. It shouldn't be such a steep drop off. Even if Dorsey falters, he needs to be able to lean on Josh to pick up his game, which he hasn't done. He's been good. Obviously, he's been consistent, but he hasn't carried Dorsey, which sometimes needs to happen. And I don't know. I think you're going to rebuttal, which is fine because that's just how I feel. I think
No, I was just gonna say the only time you should have a rookie offensive coordinator is when you are a rookie head coach, or it's your. Well, yeah, I'm gonna say rookie head coach. Like that is the only time that me as an owner or me as a supporter of the team is going to ever tolerate a rookie offensive coordinator. Like. You want to do this your way. You believe in this guy because you know him from somewhere or because you've seen him do such and such whatever other places. Okay, I'll buy that because this is your first shot. You want to do it your way. You want to win the way you believe. Okay, let's see what you got. Bring it on. But you cannot be a fifth-year head coach in the NFL having been so close to a Super Bowl as Sean McDermott has in these 5 years, and then go and say, I'm going to get a guy who's never done it before.
Right.
Come on in, buddy. You got the job. Let's shake hands. Like, I don't care who your quarterback is at that point. You have to do what the Broncos did and bring in a guy that's going to be able to kick your quarterback in the butt and say, sit down somewhere. We're going to do this the way it needs to be done, not the way you want to do it. Because ultimately, that's what's making this thing fall apart now. If we're talking about Matt Barkley signings, if we're talking about Ken Dorsey getting the endorsement from Josh Allen being one of the main reasons why he got the job, and logically, I don't know of any other reason why Dorsey would get the job other than Josh Allen running the team from behind the scenes. I think that presents no logic whatsoever. You cannot do that as a fifth-year head coach in the league, being as close as you've been to the Super Bowl. There's no justification for that. For that reason alone, you should have been on the hot seat.
For me, I get it. I understand it. I'm kind of there, but I do have certain instances where I could see it if your infrastructure is strong. See, that's my thing. If your infrastructure is strong, I could see it. So, to my point about Josh, I know you said we got to wrap, but to my point about Josh Allen,
it's not happening ever.
The point about Josh Allen is valid to me because he's not controllable. He's not mature enough, and I'm sorry, Josh, but he's not mature enough to be that real face. Like an Aaron Rodgers or somebody like that, where you can almost put anybody around me, and I'm going to do the same thing and be me and figure out how to be successful.
I don't know if Rodgers is a great example.
No, I know, but I can't really think of any other. Who else is there? Because Russell Wilson's not. Tom Brady's gone.
Joe Burrow.
No, he's too young. See, I'm trying to go to older. Like
older guy.
Yeah, that's why, and that's why I know Rodgers is not the best, but I can't think of another Phillip Rivers kind of guy. Okay, we'll say Phillip Rivers when he was playing.
Yeah, I mean Drew Brees when he was playing. Brady when he was playing.
If you had a Peyton Manning, somebody that you can put your mind together with, and and not be like, this is my show. I have to be collaborative, and I want to learn from you, and you learn from me. That kind of deal, because Peyton Manning was a coach on field,
right? And let's not
that's rare.
Let's not twist this up. Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, those guys behind the scenes. It was their team,
right?
And they wanted to be included on all the decisions, but it didn't have to be solely their decision.
No,
right?
but that's what I'm saying. If the offensive coordinator made a misstep, if they saw it, if he made it, a green error, they could fix it. Josh ain't doing that.
Right.
He's not fixing it. And my other thought process to where it would work is if this guy came up through your system. Not like a Dorsey, but like a actual. Well, okay, like a Dorsey, but you got to show more promise than Dorsey.
So you're saying if Dorsey had been with Daboll longer, so to speak, like let's say when Daboll came in, he brought in Dorsey, who's been his quarterback coach for years and years and years, right? They traveled everywhere together,
and he knew his system, and he was going to run his system.
Exactly.
Like that.
Yes.
See, those are the three instances where I can allow, but I'm with you 100%. if you have an established team with Super Bowl winning team, you don't go get somebody that's never done. I don't care if you've never been in the NFL. If you are a college head coach, an innovative mind that's overseen men in that regard, okay, I can see it. But for somebody who's a quarterback coach, and I mean, really, we went through it already. Who's he really developed? Nobody. So I think how does Dolphin show turn into a Bill show? But
I mean, it's always been a Bill show.
Really is.
We just went over the Dolphins.
This actually,
they got their love. Yeah. Now let's turn it through. Let's get it on out.
But no, I mean, you figure if you think about, what would have happened had we brought in Vic Fangio.
I had hoped for that. I above all else, I had hoped that Sean McDermott might humble himself to bring in a guy.
You know better. You know that's not going to happen. And it worked. It would have been so perfect because you figure Fangio's his own guy.
Yeah.
McDermott's his own guy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a perfect marriage.
Right.
McDermott supposedly he liked to confuse people in the back end. Fangio does that. He runs a unique set in the front. He might do a 4-3 under. He might do an under. He might do a 3-4. He might do a 50 front. You have Von Miller. You got Leonard Floyd. You got Greg Rousseau. You got Poona Ford, Ed Oliver, and these guys aren't going anywhere anytime soon. Poona Ford, if they like him, they'll keep him. Yeah. You have a nose tackle for the first time in forever. This is perfect.
Right.
But instead, you can't humble yourself to get a guy that's proven. This is one of the rare instances where a defensive coordinator has produced head coaches. He's produced head coaches.
Yep.
He's worked with Kyle Shanahan. He's worked with Brandon Staley, who is now the Chargers head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the thing is, what are you doing? What are you doing? I didn't ask you to bring in some blitz heavy, and you would have loved that. Most Buffalo would have loved it, but I didn't ask for that. I just asked for you to bring it. Just like we said last time, you're going to burn yourself out.
Yep.
You are going to screw yourself thinking you can be everything and don't want anybody to have no shine but you.
Yep.
That's what's going to happen. So, Mr. McDermott, hey, I hope you're listening. I know you're not, but I hope you are.
Yeah.
Just understand you have the job. You got a 6-year extension. What is it? A 4-year extension. You have time. Just don't screw up the ship.
Right.
Just don't screw it up. You have time.
I think we have to begin asking, is Josh getting enough help in his personal and professional life to be able to make good football decisions for this team? Yeah. Because with the level of power that we are now seeing that he has with this team, I'm sure all the quarterbacks in the league who are at Josh's level get similar consideration. Mm-hmm. But I don't think any quarterback in the league flexes his power in the way that Josh Allen has been doing. Maybe Aaron Rodgers with the Packers has done it more, but he's no longer there, so we can't even say that anymore.
I mean, 18 years of you deserve it.
Well, not only that, he's won them a Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying. 18 years and you've won.
Yeah.
You deserve a different level. So you're right. 100% right what you're saying.
Right, and so for a guy who has only gotten us close to it, never actually gotten us there, and has needed good coaching in order to propel his play. Like, it's not even like he's out here being Superman and the team around him is trash. They put a really good team around him, and he just needed to be good enough and efficient enough to not lose us the game. Now, the closest that we've been, to a Super Bowl was the AFC Championship game. That was his second year in Daboll's offense, and he was technically still a little too young and inexperienced to win a game like that, I would say. And that's what he showed. But I want to bring it back to the main point, which is how do we and I just got to the answer myself, but how do we get to a point where we are able to slow Josh down and help him understand, look, you've got to do better for this team in terms of the people that you're bringing in terms of what you're allowing the team to do around you.
Right.
And you've got to stop trying to make this about you and all your best friends being in one room.
And honestly, to answer that, I can't, because you gave him the money. You've locked yourself in. So how do you?
Yeah, but they gave Russell Wilson the money, and then they brought in Sean Payton, and now things are different.
Well, yeah, but this isn't. We don't have that. Sean
Well,
McDermott hasn't won anything.
That's part of the point. I think that's part of the point.
Exactly. So my thing is, and I'm downtrodden with it because in my mind, it's like raising a kid. Yeah, at some point, you have to trust that what you've given them was enough, and not money wise. I'm talking about the work ethic. We're talking about the philosophy. We're talking about the mind state, the way you approach your craft. Right. At some point, you have to just hope that you have to just know that it was enough, because after a while they stop listening, and now they're their own man. But what you've instilled up until a certain point is what they're gonna build on.
Right.
And for me, that point with Josh was when they gave him that contract. Whatever they got him up to there, whatever he does from here is on him. I don't, because you're the big dog. You're the best quarterback. Like we said about McDermott a million times. You're the best quarterback since what, Jim Kelly, who you're comparing him against. But I'm not gonna rehash that. but the thing is, when you think about who he is in this community. Mm-hmm. The way, at one of my jobs, the way these guys, when they come to Buffalo, when they come, not the young guys, the alumni, mm-hmm. When they come through my job, and people that are not used to seeing them see them, they go bonkers. They go, and they don't think about we were the laughing stock of 4 Super Bowls. They don't think about these guys were out partying all night long before, and that's what screwed them up. They had no work ethic, the bickering Bills.
Yep. They
just know, oh snap, they're built, and the guys eat it up. When Josh Allen comes through or whatever, he's amongst the people. Von Miller, he's amongst the people. Well, no, Von's not. Von kind of has his driver do what he does, but for the most part, they're all amongst the people, and I'm waiting to the point where Josh is not amongst the people anymore. You know what I mean? Where he starts going and doing the rich people's stuff, mm-hmm. and he forgets about where he came from. And that's where I think we're headed. Is he? I think that might be what you said about when you alluded to Diggs last about his critique of his work ethic. Mm-hmm. Is it going to get better? What is going to make Josh want to be better? He's already top 3 quarterback. He's already MVP considered. He's already Super Bowl considered. What's going to make you want to be better? And I think that's what Diggs wants. He wants to know that you've got everything. But you're not done yet. Don't walk around here thinking you're done.
Right.
And for your point, from my point, we just got to ask. We got to figure out what it's going to take. Josh has to figure out what it's going to take to get to that next level.
Right. I just, I'll this will be my last thought. When you have as much money and power as the Bills have in this city, and as much as Terry Pagula has in this city, and as much as Josh Allen has in this city, and Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane have in this city, and it's a city that has been impoverished for years, decades. Part of the reason the alumni are the iconic people that they are is because in times of severe poverty, these people rose up and represented this city in the way that they did and got us some publicity that we wouldn't have otherwise gotten. And that's all the Buffalo Bills have really represented to this city since their inception, is an opportunity to be noticed in what used to be a top-tier city and is now probably top 3 in poverty levels.
It's an afterthought now.
Right? So what does all of this really mean? What am I saying? What I'm saying is we have to begin as a supporter base, not as a fan base, but as a supporter base, people who pay for the team. We are paying for the team. Let's be clear about this. We're paying for this team to be here and represent us. And we go there every single Sunday. We get drunk and we root on this team to play a couple of playoff games and then go home. That's what it's been for the last 6 years, okay? This is not going to change their perception on what is necessary in order to be an NFL team in Buffalo is not going to change until we change it. That is the passion that we need to have in Buffalo as supporters of the team if there's going to be change in the way that they operate. Because if you are paying attention, this team is now beginning to operate in the same way that Ralph Wilson operated. Let's just be good enough to make the playoffs and let the fans deal with the rest of it. If we make it to a Super Bowl, great. If we win one, great. But our focus is sustained playoff appearances so that everybody can be happy that we had a chance. It's the equivalent of handing everybody in the city of Buffalo one lottery ticket and saying, we're not going to raise pay rates. We're not going to pay you more. We're not going to lower rent rates. We're not going to lower taxes or anything like that. But instead, we'll give you a lottery ticket every week, and you got a chance to win. Just be happy with that.
Yeah, and that lottery ticket was Josh Allen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And now we've spoiled that.
Yeah. Yep. That lottery ticket was Josh Allen. That lottery ticket was yeah. I mean, like you said, it's a chance. And we got very lucky that he had the hunger in him to get to where he is now. Now he needs to continue on. You know, because like Kobe said, and who was that? Marlon Humphrey or whoever it was, said, the job's not done. We're not done yet.
Right.
The job is not done. You know, so you're even when you hoist a trophy, the job's not done. You do it again. Unless you're going to retire. You do it again.
Exactly.
You go right into the lab and do it all over again. So, you know, with the closing thoughts of this is yeah, I think Miami is a team that we have to really we got to concentrate on them. And not even just how they play against us. Let's look at how they play the first 3 weeks before they get to us. Let's look and see what Fangio's defense looks like with the turnaround, with the Boyer personnel and Fangio's defense. Maybe they're smart enough to figure it out. Let's see what their draft picks do.
Right.
Let's see who starts and what their deficiencies were. That obviously they didn't really do much to address the left tackle, which was or not left tackle. Actually, left tackle is good, but he's always hurt. So. The right tackle, I think he graded out as their worst offensive line player by a mile. So, you know, Greg Rousseau and Leonard Floyd, you should have a field day that day. Just alternate, just eating this guy alive. You know, who is it? Liam Eichenberg. He's horrible. So, you know, let's look at a lot of things, and when we evaluate where we stand and what the Dolphins have done versus what we've done, right. Because obviously everybody's trying to get better. And we are hoping that we are too. You know, let's not do window dressing. Let's break it all down and build it strong, fortify it, make it strong and lasting. But yeah, I mean, outside of that information that we have today, I got nothing else. You know, it was an interesting exercise just to look and see what a Vic Fangio defense looked like, which makes my head spin, really. It really, you know, if you have a chance to look it up on YouTube, guys, I suggest you do. It's really interesting. You know, it changes what you think you know about zones for sure. So it's a good watch. All of this stuff is good. If you're interested in how the intricacies of football or anything else in life, research it. Just look it up. We have social media at our fingertips, and why not?
So. T-shirts. I found somebody to make our T-shirts.
Did you?
Free Digs T-shirts. So within the next week or two, we will have the T-shirts. We will make them available for purchase if we start getting enough requests. Again, if you want a T-shirt, you can hit us up on. We've got a Facebook page. We're on TikTok. We're on every social media. You can find us in you know, either direct message or just leave a comment on YouTube. Let us know you want it, and we'll start making them available for sale. We'll have them on and be wearing them on the show within the next couple of weeks. The other thing I'm gonna do, if Tyreek Hill is suspended for the first 4 to 6 games, I'm going to mail him $200 of Monopoly money, and that might be something that, you know, other people want to consider going forward. I'm pretty good at coming up with some salty behavioral things. So
Can you imagine him
I
going
might
to
have
the
to start
mailbox and seeing these
monetizing it. Oh
envelopes?
my gosh. I really hope that people are listening to this and choose to do the same thing I'm going to do. So
And you know Buffalo will do it too.
oh
because
yeah. Oh, it would be great. It would be great. We got to do it. Everybody, let's make a blood pact today. Let's spit shake on it that we are going to send him $200 in Monopoly money all week 4. Just fill his mailbox with $200 in Monopoly money in week 4.
Or when they come to Buffalo, when the game's over and they're running through the tunnel, everybody $200 in Monopoly money.
No, see, no. If he's here, you got to turn him into little sharp paper airplanes and try to hit him in the face.
Try to hit him in the head with like,
try to hit him in the eye or something like that.
hey fans, please do not throw airplane. What they say? Please do not throw snowballs.
Yeah, please.
You will
no
incur
paper
a 15-yard
airplanes,
fine.
please.
Yo, I wish they would have did that. Honestly, I want to see them enforce that. How do you enforce that?
Hilarious. It's
You know how far back they would have went?
I can just hear the news title now. Tyreek Hill gets hit with millions of dollars of Monopoly money in the eyes. Like that would be the best article title to see in decades.
Tyreek.
But all right, that's it. That's all we got for the show. Hopefully you enjoyed it. This was a really fun one. It seems to get better every week. But anything else before we go?
Hey man, I'm hamstrung. I'm ready to get up out of here and continue on with this lovely smoky day.
Oh yeah, it's pretty smoky out. It was supposed to rain today, but
Oh, that's even worse. But
yeah.
we'll cross that path when we come to it.
All
Make
right.
sure you hit the like button,
Yes.
subscribe, and let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to hear about, because obviously it's a rough patch for all media outlets. You'll hear every podcast say at this point in time it is just tough to get content. So if you want us to talk about anything there is, I love research and I will have it for you.
And as always, on the Post Podium Podcast is all truth, no sodium. Y'all have a great day.